YouTube. This is one of those videos I call the what if videos, and we're here at the old train depot here in Clinton, Iowa. I have not been in here since the mid 1970s, as after the passenger rail service has came to an end here in Clinton. I think in 1971 or 72. This is when Amtrak started up. And they had not seen any passenger service out of here since the very early 70s. I was like 4 or 5 years old, guys. But I never got a chance to ride any trains out of here. It was unfortunate. But I've been inside a couple times. When it was an auction house. And the second time was, it used to be what they call a Santa surplus store. And I think it was a few other businesses that came and gone in here. Last time it was known, it was a church. I did make a video on this depot about just before the pandemic. I think back in early 2019. Get it straight, Chuck. Yeah. So let's do a what if. Let me explain why I'm doing this what if video on this train station, because as everybody knows in the news, Brightline is a privately owned railroad company that started passenger service in the state of Florida, and they announced that they're breaking ground to run a special tracks from Vegas to the suburbs of California, of the LA area. And California had their own high-speed rail being built, but they broke ground 10 years ago and it's still not done to this day. So let's say who does it faster, a private entity or run by the government? And right now it looks like the government side is losing. But let's see what if we still had passenger service out of this station. And unfortunately, we can't be inside the building because we don't know who owns it. If we did go inside, it would have been great. Because if I was able to film inside, this would be the main entrance to this. Those Jake brakes are, I don't know why they're running Jake brakes in town, they're prohibited. This would be the main entrance. The Grand Hall, what we call our Grand Hall, would be from over here to over here. The ticketing offices would have been down there, and freight would have been down that way, basically. I did point out one time, this was a quick ticket office right here, almost like a movie theater ticketing. Used to be a lot of businesses, houses through here. This would be the big parking lot here. And of course you see the no trespassing signs posted right over there. They had rail fans sitting here one time watching the filming trains. We did vlog a rail fanning video, but after that video was released, Union Pacific moved us back, technically in a way. But right now, let's not make this any longer than it should. Let's go across the street and we'll talk more of what if. Trees right here. But let's talk about what if. What if passenger service would be still here in town? Would I take advantage of it? You darn right I would still take advantage of it. Because it would be probably the safest way to get to from Chicago. This station would probably take you to the, not necessarily the Union Station in Chicago, but will take you to the secondary station, which is about a couple blocks away from Union Station, which that'd be doable. But if it goes to Union Station, that'd be a plus because it gets me into downtown a little bit closer, basically, than that. But unfortunately, Amtrak when Amtrak came in service, they decided no. And because the tracks that Union Pacific runs on, well, back in the day, used to be run by the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. And Union Pacific deemed that the tracks, even to the tracks to this day, according to a lot of people, were not able to support the speeds of Amtrak or speeds of any passenger rail service at all, because the tracks will not support it. Probably too many bumps, grooves, and all that stuff. And this is probably one of the second busiest freight corridors outside of Fort Madison. We're talking about Fort Madison, Iowa, the train tracks down there and all that stuff. Okay, now that's one of what ifs. Now this train station has been empty for quite a long time. I'm hoping somebody will come along and save it. Maybe make some businesses out of it and all that stuff, which would be cool. I gotta get out of this preview here in a second. YouTube videos. The sun is always not where you want it, but I had to do it today anyway, so we'll just go something like this. Let's see if I can get another shot on this, but yeah. There was one wild rumor in the 90s. It was debunked almost right away that Metro was going to run through there. That's the Chicago suburban commuter line. And they were going to run a line from Chicago to Cedar Rapids, with Clinton being one of the stops along the way. Of course, all the stops in Illinois. But that was debunked almost immediately. That was before the internet. Okay, what if Brightline would have opened this up? If Brightline would have came and did the tracks, how many platforms was originally behind here? Well, behind the station there was 2 platforms. Usually a westbound, the main platform, platform 1, platform 2. Usually platform 2 usually goes sometimes east. The main platform will go west, something like that. I'm not for sure. Maybe somebody who's older than me maybe remember that. The 2 platforms that was behind this train station. There was 2 platforms. And I used to show you on the video what part of the platforms was like back there. But what if Brightline announced that they were going to run a train service that's going to involve this train station? How many millions of dollars would it to renovate this thing? Well, it's going to take a lot of millions of dollars to renovate this whole thing. I mean, it really needs a whole renovation. You don't really need a big grand hall like you had in there. If you would have saw the grand hall in there, it was awesome. I wish there was some old photos in there. I don't know if I can find them, but there's probably some at the Clinton County History Museum here in town. So they may have old photos in there too, and that. So, but yeah, this parking would be full if it did. Maybe extend the parking over here. Because this is now open, they probably put extending parking over there. But yeah, and bus service would have just, if they would have redone this, bus service would have pulled right up in here, because right now there goes the city bus. There goes a couple of subscribers. City bus would have pulled right up in here, drop off, pick off cabs and all that stuff. Right now, this is mostly a bike trail and sidewalk through here. So, yeah. But is Brightline coming through here? Answers to that question, no. It will not come through here at all. Because Union Pacific owns those tracks. Canadian Pacific owns tracks going through town. You see those tracks on Steel Highway Cam. Steel Highway Cam still working here in town. Hardly nobody watches it. Because it's Union Pacific's more busier and all that. Like I said, the biggest what if, Brightline likes to use their own, they make their own tracks, they built their own tracks, they own their own tracks. That's in Florida. And they're doing the same thing over from Nevada to the LA suburbs, I think San Bernardino. And that's supposed to be breaking ground very quickly. They got the approval to do it. I don't see the approval happening here. But what if it happened here? What happened if we got Brightline? What happened if we got Metro? Would we use the service? Well, I would. Any local subscribers, would they use the service? You know, if this was all short-term parking here, long-term parking over there right across the street, you know, anything that's up to 14 days or 30 days. And let's say if there was, let's say, a bar, restaurant, gift shops, and other amenities in that, would you shop here? Would you eat here? Besides just taking a train here. Anybody who's older than me, that's in their, I would say in their 60s and older, that watches videos, leave it down in the comments below. Have you ever traveled by train out of this station? My mom and dad has. My dad used to work for the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. They got fares, they got discounted fares because my dad worked for the railroad. And I think Angie's mom and dad also took the train to Chicago once in a while. And that. So, leave it down in the comments down below. Would you like to see trains service back in town? Or just say, nope, not happening anytime soon. But in my lifetime, it will never, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be 10 times more likely this depot will be torn down before my lifetime is over, unfortunately. But we got a document on YouTube. That would have been an awesome train station. Actually, it was one of the biggest train stations outside of Chicago because it served 2 railroads here. That's what made that great and big and that. Like I said, if you would have saw the inside in the early 70s, what it looked like on the inside, you would have been amazed. Unfortunately, we can't get inside. No one's ain't gonna allow us inside. Don't know who owns it. Probably Union Pacific owns it. And that, so yeah. But what if, like I said, the biggest disappointment is if they do it, it takes a lot of renovation. They have to rebuild the platforms. They gotta rebuild the platforms, and they have to build extended tracks and that. And that's more of a headache because you gotta deal with Union Pacific and you gotta deal with Canadian Pacific rail lines. Well, now it's soon to be CPKC rail line in the future. That is a big what if, and the what if is it's not gonna happen. That is, well, it's definitely not gonna happen, guys. Not in my lifetime and in anybody else's lifetime. I mean, something's gotta be given in. A lot, but mostly the tracks between here and Chicago on either the Union Pacific lines or the now CPKC line needs to be renovated to a point that it can support passenger rail service. If Amtrak was able to stay and keep this operating, it would have been what they call an Iowa service that would serve between Chicago and Cedar Rapids, possibly out to Des Moines area, but that did not happen. The Metro rumor of the early 90s, that was nipped in the bud almost immediately. And the Bright Line idea, if they did propose it, it might meet with a lot of people going against it in a way because of being I guess some people here in town don't believe in positively bringing good stuff back that used to be what we used to had. Like I said, better enjoy what we have today because it'll be gone tomorrow. Especially the view of this train station. If they were able to renovate it into businesses and that, even if there's no train service, I think it would be doable for other businesses here too, but I don't see that happening either anytime soon. And that. So, but yeah, overall in the long run, we're not going to see passenger service out of this station ever again. We're 10 times more likely this will meet the wrecking ball in the future. When? We don't know on that one. We're to be a loss of history. Big loss of history, iconic to Clinton. The biggest train station outside of Chicago, unfortunately. It's been deactivated as a train station since the early 70s. I've only been in there a couple times as other businesses, as an auction house in the early 70s, well, mid-1970s. And I was in there when it was called Santa Surplus back in the 80s. The last train that actually served us as an emergency stop was the California Zephyr. That happened in the late 80s and early 90s. But since then, they improved those tracks down on the Burlington River, Santa Fe. What they did was they raised those tracks so it doesn't flood so often down there. So yeah, they did a lot of work repairs to make sure that is so the Zephyr doesn't leave that route ever again. The California Zephyr was the last time train service was here in town, but they couldn't use the train station. They can barely use the platforms, and they had to park it down there ways. And there was an emergency stop, reroute, probably due to train derailments, mostly flooding issues. But that was back in the mid to late 80s and early 90s. After that, they fixed those lines down in southern Iowa where the Zephyr runs on. That was it. Okay, that's it for this what if. And what if is, will we see train depot here? You guys would like to see trains coming through here? Leave it down in the comments down below. But if not, are we going to lose that building to a wrecking ball? We'll have to find out in the future. Because we know right across the way, remember the building collapse over there? Yep. That could face the same thing too. But yeah, it's a big what if, that guy. So that's basically it. Alright, we'll do more of these videos around town and our thoughts around the county, but we're not going to be on location for those because it's, like I said, this is a middle mini series I would want to do. And I hope you enjoy this. Will we see passenger service here? No, not happening. I would love to see it happen, but it's not going to happen. I would love to take you inside, but I can't. Alright, we're out of here. Please like, share, subscribe, don't forget to subscribe on the notification bell. We'll see if Angie wants to join me on the next what if video. It may have something to do with the gaming laws here in Iowa when it first started out. Boy, did we hear a lot of what ifs back then. Holy cow. We'll talk to you on the next one. Whenever we do the next what if. See ya.